Hello, my name is James Taylor.
It is, and my name is Maria Franzoni.
And you're listening to the SpeakersU Podcast. Welcome, Maria. Good to see your bright, shiny face here this morning.
Shiny.
What's been going on in your life?
Okay, I got to get the powder out if I'm shiny. And I know you laugh when I say it is James Taylor, but you could be an AI, you see. So it's important that I just help you. You are. It's definitely James, right? What have I been up to this week? This week has been again busy, brilliant. So I've been focused on doing what I tell other people to do, which is, turning up on LinkedIn and commenting and posting and prospecting and reaching out to people. I reached out to 79 people this week in over 2.5 days. Very targeted outreach with a very targeted message, which resulted in more yeses and responses than you would normally get if it's not targeted, right? But maybe that's a different topic for another day, prospecting. I personally love prospecting, but maybe there's something wrong with me. I was probably dropped on my head when I was a child. I don't know.
Good episode. That's a good potential future episode as well. So was this a spike? I know we spoke previously in an episode about prospecting and the value of prospecting as well. How do you kind of get over those initial nerves? You've nerves on prospecting, or for you, does it just feel like was it a hot knife through butter, as they say in America?
I like that, hot knife through butter. It's exactly the same as the nerves you get over through speaking. The more you do, the easier it gets. And you're not trying to sell. You're trying to build relationships. You're trying to have conversations. So I don't particularly like automated outreach. But that's, again, let's leave that for another topic because we can go deep on this. What are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to be talking about speaking for free. The do's, the don'ts, the whys, the why nots. And so I was just thinking about this week. It's been a little bit of a crazy few days, and it will be a crazy few days. So I just did a virtual keynote for Electronic Arts, lovely client, gaming industry. And then once we finish recording this and wrapping this, I'm going to be going to the airport. And in the next 7 days, I think I'm doing 5 keynotes. So I'm in Croatia, Tampa, Florida, Atlanta in Georgia, and then finally back to Frankfurt in Germany to do an event as well. And while all this has been going on, it's like really busy and I'm prepping for this. I get an email from a well-known conference, and it's got some very big names also already confirmed for this event. And they said, we'd be interested in having you speak on the stage for this event. Okay, that's great. And we do the discovery call. And it all sounds very nice audience, the kind of audience I would like to speak to. And he said, but there's one thing, and this event is in New York City. There's one thing, we don't pay speakers. And, the first thing is like, well, they're definitely paying for X person that I know is already confirmed for it as well. So, but it kind of took me back a little bit. I haven't been asked to speak for a large kind of corporate event for free in quite a while. And it kind of made me just kind of think about when should we or shouldn't we speak for free as speakers? So, Maria, I'm guessing this is a question you get quite a lot from speakers.
You've managed to ignore my mug, haven't you? Those who listen to the podcast won't know what my mug says. But can you see what my mug says? I will speak for biscuits.
But what kind of biscuits? Is it like a rich tea, like there's nothing, or is it like a fancy biscuit? Is it
Actually,
a blue ribbon?
Chocolate. It has to be chocolate biscuits.
Okay, chocolate biscuit.
That's just a fun mug that I got for a post that I was going to do about speaking for free. But I thought we'll use it here because it is fun. So speaking for free, it's a huge topic. And when should you speak for free? Where should we start? Let's start with my view on it. And I think there are times when it is appropriate to speak for free. And then there are times when it's not. I'm imagining you turned that opportunity, let's call it an opportunity in inverted commas for you. I imagine you turned that down.
Yes.
Because for you, it wasn't the right thing at all. But sometimes it is. When you're starting out,
a different speaker, it could be absolutely perfect, and that aligned with that audience. That's maybe based in New York City, so there's no travel costs for them as well. It could be a great event.
Yeah, and I think when you're starting out, it's actually important to get the reps in, to speak for free as often as you can,
Yeah.
because you need the practice, you need the stage time. And if you think about, so my favorite speakers, if I'm honest about it, and please don't take it personally if you're not one of these, I love stand-up comedians. They're for me the best because I love a good laugh. So if a speaker's funny, I enjoy them too, right? But I go to a lot of live comedy. David and I, my husband and I, we plan out all these different events. And in fact, very recently, we saw Jason Manford's tour. I saw him last time and we've just seen him again. For me, he's one of the best out there. He will not have perfected that performance, that presentation, that new show without putting in the reps. And he'll have done the reps with live audiences, and he will have either have done it for free or for very low fee to get those live audiences to give him feedback. And in fact, when we saw him, he was saying something like it was his 240th show or something of that nature. So by that point, he's perfecting. Of course, he's getting paid now, of course, by that point when he's on tour. But I think it's vital for you to get the reps in. You cannot just go on stage, just like a singer or a musician and a drummer. I mean, you're a musician, you understand this.
Yeah.
You must have performed for free as a musician when you started out.
No. Actually, my first gig was a paid gig. I got £30. It was for the working man's club, I think they called it back then. And so these are all retired soldiers and mine workers and everything like that as well. And even though it was £30, I do remember at the time that feeling of getting paid to do something and then thinking, this must be what it's always like. And then very quickly realizing actually you have to do a lot of things for free initially to build, as you say, to build up those reps.
Yeah, absolutely. To get good at it. So I think, and so one is to get better, but also to test out material and to see what's really resonating with the audience so that you can adjust it. And then the third reason to speak for free is because it's a part of your marketing budget. Because that audience is a group of potential bookers. So if you're wanting to speak to HR and you've got a whole room of HR senior executives who are decision makers and that event doesn't pay, but it's your target audience, why wouldn't you go and speak for free there? As long as you're clear when you're booked, I'm doing it because of this audience and I want to be able to have access to that audience. This is what I would normally charge, so that then when they come and talk to the organizer, it's clear that you've done it. You don't normally do this for free. It's because it's part of your marketing.
One of my friends says that you get the most number of will you speak for free inquiries on International Women's Day. She's a female speaker, and she said it blows my mind that she gets all these inquiries to come and speak about being a successful woman in the workforce, and none of them are paid. And but you know, everyone's different as well. I remember when I was starting talking about speaking for free. So I think I probably did, I'm going to say 40 keynotes before I got paid. The way I did, I booked a paid keynote before I ever spoke for free, but it was like 3 months ahead. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to work up my material like a comedian does. And so I booked myself to do lots of these Rotary clubs. We have all around the world, where you do like a 20-minute bit, and they're everywhere. Every city has them. And I think I did like between 30 to 40 of these Rotary clubs for free. In fact, my wife, Alison, came with me, and she called it the ham salad tour, because regardless of where it was, the lunch was always a ham salad. That was always that was the lunch. But it was great. And I remember another speaker saying to me once, you know that your speech is getting somewhere when people come up to you, at least 2 people come up to you afterwards and say, we want to book you to speak. And I remember those first 10, they were like terrible, awful. And also speaking to really quite tough audiences as well. And then I remember it was probably about 25th one in, 30th one in, and it just started to connect. And 2 people came up to me and said, could you speak to our law firm? Could you speak to something else? And I thought, that's what, but I would have never have got that if I didn't go and do those speeches for free at the start.
So interesting, ham salad tour. As a vegan, that must have been a very hungry tour for you.
I didn't eat very much on that. There was a lot of lettuce.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And actually, you do still speak for free, James. So I'm going to pull you up on that because you're speaking for free
Yeah.
now on this podcast.
Yep. I am.
Yeah.
I am. I do my podcast.
You've spoken for free for speaker audiences because you did that. You were
Correct.
very generous and did that at the Speaker Summit this year in July, where you talked about using AI in the speaking business, which we should talk about. That's got to be another episode as well, because that was just fascinating.
That was great.
I might have to interview you for that one because you're so good on that. So we still speak for free. I'm speaking for free at the moment as well, right? So we still do it, just different format.
Yeah, and when we say speak for free, often I'll say waive my fee rather than speak for free. Which is it's just like a small thing, but you're saying, listen, my fee is normally this, but I'll waive my fee. So as you say, I don't. If I'm doing podcasts, I'm not getting paid to speak on podcasts, my own or other people's podcasts. If I'm doing speaking to other speakers, my general rule is peers don't pay. And I feel I've learned so much from other speakers in this industry that I'm happy to give my time for free if other speakers can learn from me as well. So all the speakers associations things I've ever spoken at, I don't get paid for those. Maybe they cover travel or something, but that's I think that's to be expected. And actually, the third one I do is I actually do speak for free for schools. But not private schools, or in England you call them public schools, don't you? Because they've frankly usually got budgets. They can spend a lot of money bringing external speakers in. So Robert Peston, who's a journalist in the UK, and has his own podcast called The Rest is Politics. I think is the name of his podcast. He has created this thing called Speakers for Schools, where he looks at those schools, often in poorer neighbourhoods, poorer areas of the UK, and because of his connections, he's able to get Philip Hammond, the former Chancellor of the UK, or Stephen Bartlett, or other professional speakers, for example, to come in and speak for free to those students, because these schools would not normally get in kind of professional speakers or speakers like that as well. So I'm happy to do that. I'll do like 2 a year for schools, mostly in Scotland, but sometimes in London. And I think that's just my way personally of giving back, and also to say to those children, teenagers in the room, this thing about speaking on stage, that this is a career. I was never told when I was at school that there was a job, like being passionate about something, caring about something, being an expert in something, and going sharing that on stages and getting paid for it. So I kind of wanted to put that out there as well.
So interesting you mentioned schools, because of course there is another bureau, which is School Speakers, run by Claire Young, former apprentice runner-up. And there the speakers get paid to speak at schools, because schools do have budgets. Not all of them. The ones that Robert Peston serves is a different market, but schools do have budget, and there are many speakers who make an entire career of speaking to schools. What's your view? Actually, no, sorry, I need to come back. I wrote this down because I think it's fantastic. Peers don't pay. That's so true. Often when I'm working with speakers, they'll come to me and say, I'm not getting paid. And they'll then say to me that they're in the marketing, they work in marketing. And I'm saying, well, who are you speaking to? I'm speaking to marketing conferences and marketing events, because peers don't pay. It's that I usually say familiarity breeds contempt. They don't want to pay you because they feel you should. Actually, because they know you should be speaking for free. You should be honest with that. And it happens, in the tech industry, tech people won't pay. So you have to sometimes come out of your own industry, your own sector, in order to be valued for your expertise. There's that. And then the other point I wanted to make was how you position yourself can sometimes lead to being offered non-paid speaking gigs. I can look at a speaker's website and I can tell if they're getting paid or not by what they put on their website. And I'll often have to say to them, you've given it away by this, this, and this. Often it's the testimonials. The testimonials will be from other speakers, or the testimonials will be from organisations that I know as a booker. I still call myself a booker in the present because I have that mindset. That's never going to go, I don't think, even though I don't book anymore. Please don't write in and ask me to represent you. But I know those clients don't pay. And so you're giving it away, and you're going to keep attracting more of these unpaid opportunities, in inverted commas, because of how you're showing up sometimes.
So did you notice when you were representing different speakers in a bureau, let's say those speakers who were famous environmentalists, famously, for good causes in different ways, did they get a higher number of inquiries coming into them where they were expected to speak for free or for very low compared to someone that's, a cybersecurity expert, for example?
It depends. It depends what's going on around currently, what's relevant currently. It does differ, but often it's what it says on your website. Most bureaus will say on their website that they don't accept free invitations for unpaid speaking. That's not what they do. And most speakers don't actually put that. And I know at one point, and you experimented, and I don't know if you still do this, you had a drop down where you had what is your budget, and they had to put a range. Do you still have that? I think it was something
we
came out.
We tested it actually. Yeah, we tested it, and it worked on some pages and didn't work on others, and in the end we ended up removing it. So I think we just say now what is the fee range that you're looking to pay or something like. Yeah. But we definitely did have. I remember we had like a 5,000 to 10,000, 10,000 to 20,000, and then above. I think it'd probably make more sense if we were a bureau or we were representing multiple speakers.
Yeah.
Where you just, frankly, if you're a bureau, you probably don't want to deal with anything that's less than $10,000 because it's just, you don't make any commissions or don't make enough commission to make it worth your while.
But the idea that in your drop down that you've got what's the fee range or what's the budget, etc., immediately they're now, okay, the speaker doesn't speak for free. Although that particular one did get through that barrier for some reason, but it's only the one in many, many years.
I think that sometimes happens when they feel that they've got a very strong main stage speaker already booked, and they think that will hook in all these other speakers that would want to speak for that. And because they want to be on that same stage as that person. Actually, some of the people that were on the stages, I've had them on my podcast. So it doesn't really, I'm not at that point in my career that necessarily I'd want to do that. There is probably one proviso, I would say, even if you have been speaking for a while, and you get offered a speaking engagement where they either say, we're not able to pay for speaking fees for this reason, which whatever, or they say we can just cover your flights and hotels and 5-star, whatever. At that point, not necessarily myself, but I can understand at that point, it might be useful to say, are you filming this event? Can I get the footage? Who is going to be in the room? Can I get the list of attendees and the emails? And that's unlikely to do that in Europe because of GDPR, but maybe in other places you can do that. What else can you get? Is there a booth? Is there a conference where you actually have a different product that you're selling? In a previous episode, we spoke about different revenue streams. Maybe you have some type of continuity or a product or a book or something that you'd want to have there as well. So I don't think it's always so hard and fast. So I understand speakers that sometimes say they didn't get paid to speak at that particular event, but they did get something else out of it that was actually really valuable for them.
Absolutely. And we talked about associations in a previous episode. And if it's an association that has a poor budget or no budget, you could ask to be a member for a year. And then, of course, you have got access to the membership list, even if you can't get the email list. And that's very useful if those members are event organizers or meeting planners or HR directors, as we mentioned before, or marketing directors. I want to come back to your point about speakers often wanting to be at an event so that they can say they shared a stage with. I hate that expression with a passion. You're not sharing a stage unless you are both on the stage at the same time and you are doing a double act of some kind. Then you're sharing a stage. Otherwise, that person has no idea you even exist. They'll have gone home and they'll be having their dinner or doing something else, on to the next thing. And you just happen to be standing on the same piece of wood as they stood on several hours before. Yeah. You are not sharing a stage. Please don't say that. Whenever anybody says that in their bio, I've shared a stage with so-and-so, I literally want to, yes, be ill. Because it's like, no, you haven't. No, you haven't.
Is something I'll often say if another speaker maybe leaves a message on social media, for example, and I've seen their stuff and I said, I look forward to sharing a stage with you in the future. And so I can hold my hand up. I'm probably have done it, but sometimes I might, if I'm emceeing the event, I just did an event there. It was the head of the CIO of the World Bank, for example.
Ooh.
Now, technically, I shared a stage with her. I don't think I would ever really use that. I would never put it in a bio with certain people as well. Talking about other things that sometimes we in a previous episode we talked about other revenue streams. One that we actually didn't cover, which I just thought about today, was podcasting.
Yes,
so
you can get paid.
This podcast, we're probably going to get enough maybe to, at the end of this, to buy ourselves a cup of tea or a tea bag or something. But a lot of speaker influencers make a lot of money from podcasting. I think I saw Scott Galloway. I think he did about $10 million from his podcast. And so this is where you might want to speak for free, for example. Sometimes if you go to an event where they have lots of amazing speakers, let's say I just bumped into Vala, who's the chief evangelist for Salesforce. They do this big event, Dreamforce, which I'm sure you've booked speakers on before. They've got 10,000 speakers or some ridiculous numbers of speakers on the stage. If I was a podcaster and was just getting started, that actually might be worth speaking for free if they would give me a booth and a space, and they would connect me with all the high-end speakers that are speaking at that event so I could interview them while I'm on site, because that's giving me loads of content. I do know speaker podcasters that do that. That's something they'll do. So they'll say, okay, I'll waive my fee, but I want this, and I need a room that's soundproofed, and I need X, Y, Z, I need footage, and da-da-da-da-da. And that kind of makes sense. So you have to be a little bit creative, I guess.
No, fantastic. And actually, the other thing we didn't talk about on the previous episode, we might have to go back and edit it. We didn't talk about YouTube, because, of course, you can monetize your videos as well, can't you? We didn't talk about that. But, you see, we'll have to bring some experts in to go into some of these topics a bit more deeply, I think.
Yeah, I think, and this is another area I think you're going to increasingly see. I'm one of the events, I'm speaking at two travel-related events. One is for the business travel industry, and then the other one is for the public travel industry. So when you rent a villa or you go on a nice holiday to Greece or somewhere, I don't know, where's your holiday place of choice? You go to some of the lovely Caribbean island, I seem to remember.
Actually, not as far as that. My favourite place to go in the winter is Cape Verde, because it's not a long flight, and there's the time difference is minimal, and it's the same weather all year round, and the people are so happy. Their motto is no stress. What a great motto. No stress.
I like that idea. Well, the reason I mention this, like the travel, is one of the things I'll be talking about is this idea of digital twins at this event, AI digital twins. So a number of resorts and tourist authorities, including in Germany, where I'm going to be speaking, they have Emma, which is an AI generated influencer. So they create videos around her, things of her going to these different locations, different places as well. And I do wonder if in the future you'll start to see more of those speaker influencers create digital twins for themselves in order to promote products, to promote places. I'm already doing it just now. Like if a client asks me to film a little promo video, sometimes I would just use some software to create a digital twin that will say, hey, my name's James Taylor, I'm going to be speaking at XYZ, because I can create that so much quicker than necessarily getting into a studio and filming something as well. So lots of areas for experimentation.
And actually, I've worked with speakers who do make a lot of money from that influencer space, where they will get paid for tweeting or resharing. So again, we missed that as well. So and we covered a lot of ground in that episode. So you have to listen every week, because we just carry on the conversation.
Go back there. There's so much more, and probably there's loads of questions that are coming up as you're listening to this episode just now. So if you want Maria and I to maybe answer, give our thoughts on a question, something you're thinking in your own speaking business, then just email hello@speakersu.com. That's hello@speakersu.com, and we will endeavor to get to that question. So should we finish up with our tools or tips of the week?
Yes, you go first this time round.
Okay, so we're talking about AI just at the end there. Mine is Otter, Otter. I think it's Otter.ai, I think is or Otter.com. So all this is it's an AI transcription tool. So every meeting I do, every virtual meeting, whether it's on Teams, Zoom, doesn't matter what it is, my AI transcriber from Otter comes on that call, will record the whole meeting, will transcribe the whole thing, do the top line, what was said, what the action points are from that meeting as well. And where this is super useful is it drives me crazy, but I'll get on a discovery call with a client and you're on for 35 minutes or so, and you go into depth, like, this is what I'm going to do, this and then at the end of it, they'll say, could you write all that up in the form of a proposal? And so what I do is I have a template proposal document, and I just use AI to import the transcript from that, of what I've already said, links it to my proposal document, and it creates everything we've said, but in a more like a proposal formal form. That's one way you can use it. The other way that I use it is I do a lot of pre-event calls with the clients or maybe attendees at an event. And when you're doing so many different events and they're out of sequence, like, oh, what was that? And what did we speak about? So I just did one. I've got one coming up where I interviewed 3 executives from that company about the problems that company is facing and the opportunities it's facing. And so all I do is I just give all those transcripts and I say to the AI, what are the themes are coming out from these 3 very different, like a COO, a CFO, and someone on digital. And it comes up, these are the 4 themes that we're hearing time and time again through these conversations. I'm like, okay, that's the stuff I want my keynote to tackle. Those are the things I want to get into. So great app, Otter.ai, I think. It's clients love it as well, because after the call, it sends them the transcript. So they've got a recording of it, the transcript as well. You can record the audio. I can actually record the video if you want to do that as well. So that's my little tool for the week, Otter.
Fantastic. I've actually had a meeting once where the otter arrived and the person didn't. And I had the joy of sending a text, which I thought I'd never say the words. Your otter is in the meeting. Will you be joining us both? You know, I love that. I just love that. That made me laugh. So my tip is related to what we've been talking about, today, which is about making sure that your presence, your website, your LinkedIn isn't leaking the fact that maybe you're speaking for free or for low fees. Just go through your website and just look at it and just double check. Are your testimonials from other speakers? Because that's often a big giveaway. Are your testimonials from companies where they didn't pay you or they paid you a low amount? You know, the bookers know, take them out. And are you, just look at your website. Do you look like the £5,000 speaker you want to be or are? Or not? You really look at it objectively. So that's my tip.
Yeah, it's such a funny thing, like the fees in this industry, where so much of it is also based on positioning, and so much of that positioning comes from photography, the show reel, the videos, the testimonials. Actually, that's 3 ideas for future episodes there, Maria. We can maybe cover those in future episodes.
God, we've got so much to talk about, James. It's crazy. I mean, they'll have to take us away, won't they? So, yeah.
Exactly. Bring the crook. So from goodbye from me, James Taylor.
And goodbye from me. Lovely to have you with us. Thank you.
Do you dream of stepping on stage and being paid big? $10,000, $50,000, or even more for just one keynote? If you're ready to stop speaking for free or low fees and build a speaking business that generates real income, listen closely. Introducing the 7-Figure Speaker Program with James Taylor. He's trained hundreds of speakers to go from small stages to commanding big fees, teaching you the full system: marketing, sales, craft, profitability. You'll get insider templates, email swipe copy, checklists, everything you need to book more gigs, raise your rates, win speaker bureau deals, and build evergreen revenue streams. If you want the strategy and tactics to build a global speaking business faster than you thought possible, this is your moment. Go to SpeakersU.com and get started today. The stage is ready for you.
If you're a speaker who wants to get more bookings, charge higher fees, and run a thriving speaking business, then you need to know Maria Franzoni. Maria has spent over 2 decades inside the world's top speaker bureaus, negotiating thousands of engagements for some of the biggest names on stage. Today, she works one-to-one with speakers, helping them build the business behind their speaking. If you'd like to be more bookable and more profitable, visit mariafranzoni.me to find out how she can help you.